Hi, I'm Joshua Kahan, editor of the Yedid Nefesh Haggadah, and in these videos I'm going to try to just give you a little bit of a fresh read, a fresh angle on some of the key texts of the Haggadah. The first one I want to talk about is Lachma Anya. This is the text that comes right after Yachat, when we break the middle matzah and hide the afikomen, and just before we formally begin Magid with the 4 questions. It's a text that has confused generations of readers and commentators. There are 3 separate statements. There's a declaration, an invitation, and then a hope. So first, the declaration. Lachma Anya. This, or behold, the bread of affliction or poverty. This is just a form of the biblical phrase Lachma Anya, which Deuteronomy uses to describe the matzah. Di achalu avatana, that our ancestors ate, be'ara de Mitzrayim, in the land of Egypt. This, behold, before us is the bread of affliction, poverty, that our ancestors ate in the land of Egypt. Number 2, invitation. Kol dichvin yetev yechul. All who are hungry should come and eat. This is just a form of a kind of standard declaration that the Talmud offers as a practice of certain rabbis before any major meal, to invite those in need to come and share in it. But then it gets more specific. Kol ditzrich, all who need, yetev yifsach. All who need specifically to be part of a group doing a Paschal sacrifice should come and join our sacrifice. The invitation. And third, Hashata Hacha. This year we are here. Lishana haba ba'arad Israel. Next year, may we be in the land of Israel. Hashata avde. This year, we are slaves. Lishana haba b'nei chorim. Next year, may we be free. Now, the fact that this is in Aramaic, and the only text in the whole Haggadah other than Chad Gadya at the very, very end, which is a much later song, that is in Aramaic, sets it apart already. But our bigger problem is, how does this fit in? It seems, first of all, the invitation would only be appropriate before the meal begins. It would be strange to invite people in after we've already said Kiddush. And even more surprising, this is a text that talks about the matzah, but talks about it in an unusual way, talks about it as the bread our ancestors ate in Egypt. The whole rest of this ritual, we will be talking about the matzah as the bread that we baked and ate as we were leaving. And yet here it is the bread that was eaten in Egypt. And that fits with the strangeness of the last section. Lachma Anya stands out from the whole rest of the Haggadah in describing the present as a time of either enslavement, persecution, suffering, want, and hoping for a future of freedom and redemption. The whole rest of the evening, we will be talking about slavery and suffering in the past tense and redemption as present. Which tells us that for sure this text cannot have been meant to be part of Magid. In fact, while there is widespread speculation about what was this meant to be, how was it originally, why was it originally composed, and why inserted into the Haggadah, I think the function is pretty clear. Because we say, Lachma Anya, this, we're indicating something, this is the bread of suffering or poverty. This must be the bread, the matzah that we have just broken. We've broken the matzah that we would normally keep whole to say motzi. We've broken it to indicate that this matzah represents the affliction and deprivation. The affliction and deprivation of the slaves in Egypt, and the affliction and deprivation of people throughout the generations. Indeed, this seems to be meant as the text of Yachatz, even though it's never presented that. It's never presented or really thought of that way. We break the matzah and we declare, this is the bread of affliction, of poverty. And if it is the bread of affliction and poverty, if the matzah is representing suffering, then it makes sense to say it represents the flat and perhaps stale bread that our ancestors were forced to eat when they were slaves. And furthermore, the bread of poverty and the act of breaking it and thus making it the bread of poverty should call to mind the sense in which our present is one of Anya, of affliction and suffering. And so, just in this moment, as we highlight the matzah as a symbol of the slavery as opposed to the symbol of freedom, or the symbol of that crossing from slavery to freedom, in this moment, we think of how distant we are from where we hope to be, here in the diaspora, as opposed to a future time we will be in the land of Israel, here where we are in various ways not fully free, dreaming of a time that will allow us to fully realize that promise.